Hi, my name is Chris Ryan here in Orlando at the Marriott Golf Academy, and today we're looking at the driver and more specifically the takeaway and looking at whether the advice of keeping the club head low and slow to the ground is actually going to help you driving. So welcome to your Friday. Today coming to you from the Marriott Golf Academy here at the Grand Vista Golf Resort in Orlando, and today we're answering a question from Dave Rennie. Now this is the video where you can get involved, have your say and help me with the content. If you've got a topic or a question you'd like me to help you with, let me know in the comments box down below and hopefully I can choose yours for a future show. So Dave contacted me via Instagram, he sent me a message and he was talking about the driver and really discussing or asking some advice based on some other advice that he'd been given about the driver. Specifically, he had been told with the driver it was a good idea to keep the club head low and slow in the takeaway. However, he said when he did this, he found he got inconsistent contacts and he didn't really feel it was actually giving him any help. And he was just asking if I could do a video covering this topic to help him maybe understand why this wasn't helping him as it should do. So this is, one of those pieces of advice that maybe has gone back years and years and years. It's something that does crop up with lessons that golfers are told with the driver to keep that club low and slow in the takeaway. Now, the first thing we're going to address is the low element of that. If I first of all just take my address with this driver, you will notice I've placed a tee peg in the ground at about the same height that I would normally tee a driver up, and it's around about 2 feet behind the golf ball, give or take, maybe just a little bit more. And what you're going to notice here is as I make my first move away with the driver, my club head does not make contact with that second tee. By the time my club reaches that second tee, it's already begun to rise up into the air by, certainly a couple of inches. Now, if I was to try and keep that club head low to the ground, or in this case, hit that tee peg, there's a couple of things I would have to do. I would probably have to increase the amount that I flex over the ball. So this amount that I bend forward, I'd probably have to increase that. I would also probably have to increase or move my head, I should say, laterally away from the target. So if you look at these two movements away, this would be my normal takeaway. And if I tried to clip that tee peg, I would have to, as I say, move my head to the right and probably increase the amount that I'm bending forwards to make sure that I clipped that tee peg. So if I was trying to keep the club lower to the ground in the takeaway, there's a chance that it's really going to affect how I move my body. From here, I'm going to find it incredibly difficult to move my body in the way that I need to move it in order to hit the driver correctly. The way that the body is designed, the way that we move the club, the way that we move our body in the golf swing will dictate the fact that my club will begin fairly soon after it moves away from the ball, it will begin to raise or rise up into the air. Certainly at this first parallel position, you can see how that club head is not a million miles away from the height of my hips. And that was a gradual increase of height right from the word go. Unfortunately, and obviously there are exceptions to the rule, unfortunately, the golfers that are told to keep the club low and slow, I often see that causing more issues than it actually does in terms of helping them. I see these golfers move off the ball. I see them changing body shapes in an attempt to keep that club low to the ground. Geometry, physics tell us that the club will not stay low to the ground, it will begin to raise into the air. Now, we don't want to take this massively to the extreme. We don't want the club raising up this way. But if you're effectively keeping your head fairly still, you're keeping your arm structure pretty good, the club will begin to raise up into the air. So a great little test that you can have is actually what we've done here. Place a tee peg about 2 feet behind the ball and see whether your club hits it. If it does hit it, there's a chance that you're actually forcing that movement with some of these movements that we've already discussed. You should actually get your club to miss that tee peg. Let's quickly talk about the second thing he talked about. He said, let's keep the club slow in the takeaway. Now, every single golfer that plays this game is going to have their own rhythm, their own tempo. You look at some of the golfers that you see now playing the European Tour, the LPGA Tour, the PGA Tour, there is no one tempo fits every golfer. So does moving the club slower help? In some cases it does, but in some cases it actually doesn't, because that golfer may well have quite a brisk tempo. If you try and slow it down too much, you can often put them out of their comfort zone. So this one's a little bit more of a difficult one to answer because it really does depend on the golfer, but you almost need to establish and find out what is your best speed and tempo to swing at. For those golfers who find moving the club away with a little bit more speed helps, asking them to slow it down will certainly not help. So as far as the speed goes, that might be something you have to sort of self-discover. But as far as the low and the slow goes, so the low part, hopefully I've answered a few of your questions there and given you some ideas on why that might not be the best advice for you to take. Right, let me hit one. I've got that T-peg still in the ground, so hopefully I will miss that as I move this club away into my backswing. Okay, so didn't hit the T-peg quite correctly. I shouldn't hit that T-peg when it's positioned where it is there. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Dave, for sending in that question. I really, really hope that helps, and I hope it helps any of you out there who've maybe heard that advice in the past. Thank you to the Marriott Golf Academy. Fantastic facility. Hospitality has been excellent. Would definitely recommend you checking out this venue if you are in the Orlando area looking to work on your golf game. Usual stuff, as always, is down below the video. There's a comments box down there, there's a like button, and there's also a link to subscribe to my channel if you are not a subscriber already. Thank you very much for watching. We shall hopefully see you again.